Okay, so this is a very interesting Arcanist build. You might notice from the massive wing in my offhand that this is Chimera's Grace, which is an absolutely deranged choice to put on Mage. I'd appreciate it if the thing would shoot me in my shield and not, like, out of it. This Colossus is a pain in the ass because it doesn't blow up, and the Iron Golem doesn't melee you, so I can't get the shield pop off. Most people will be watching this after the balance update that changes Chimera's Grace's retaliation. So, the way it currently works is that the damage goes into the class damage bucket and not the gear damage bucket, which is why it's good on Arcanist, because Arcanist doesn't put anything in that class damage bucket, unlike a Paladin, which has about 70% permanently active. Arcanist actually benefits fully from that 25% or 40% on 40% if you're looking at an elite like this. Okay, would like my shield back. Yeah. And that's why I chose to try out Chimera's Grace here, because it helps with the single target damage. And it's also generally interesting to see a shield mage. Oh, it's this guy again. I mean, it's not like I can't just deal damage without having retaliation up. It's just like, you know, I only deal like I can't do the math in my head. It's like 70% as much damage. So if I can get it up, I'd like to. A brief explanation of how additive rework affected damage might be in order. So how additive rework doesn't mean that literally everything is additive now. It means that it's just in 2 or 3 buckets. Thanks for being functional and popping retaliation on that blocked hit. Monucommentary is a functional game. Melee me. I dare you. This is kind of how normal Arcanist plays, except I have to pause really awkwardly before every encounter so that the mob will actually try and hit me. Is it good? No, because at the moment, Wolf's Blood Tome is so disgustingly overstated that in most cases, even with 25% being multiplicative, it is better to just be running Wolf's Blood Tome. And Chimera's Grace has the complete lack of agility or armor. I mean, it has protections, but you have no prot. Kind of awkward. If you can get the guard up, it's better EHP, but that's still a really... Guard is a pain. Like, notwithstanding the fact that you are literally trying to get a shield block off all the time for retaliation. Retaliation has the same uptime as guard at the moment. Not sure if they're gonna change that. Although I hope they don't. It is a pain to have to keep track of 2 different effects. Effectively, putting guard on Kim Grace just means that, like, blocking equals more damage and more protection. you do kind of have to pick your delve mods really carefully. Arcane will screw you. Vengeful will screw you, but Vengeful just screws mages in general, so not sure if that deserves the distinction exactly. I said I'd explain damage, and then I proceeded to immediately get distracted. But good job, me. So damage goes into roughly three buckets. The first damage bucket is base damage. This is, in our case, this is the base damage of the spell multiplied by the spell power that the wand has. In the case of a melee player, it is how much base damage does the weapon deal plus multiplied by another 1.5 if the attack was a crit. And of course for projectile players, it's just that. There's like one weird exception, because E-arrows, if you use a custom arrow with damage percent on it, that damage percent goes into base damage, but only for E-arrows. That's not how it works for any other kind of arrow, because E-arrows has a special bit in the code that specifies this. Okay, Retaliation primed, but I also don't have any spells up, so that's not terribly helpful, is it? So that's the first damage bucket, which I'll refer to as base damage. The second damage bucket is gear damage. This is the damage percent that you literally see on your gear. For example, a Radiant Secrecy, that's 15% magic. And then plus infusions, which, I mean, kind of thematically makes sense, because, you know, it's... Come here. It kind of thematically makes sense, because the infusion goes on your gear, and that makes it gear damage, right? But it does mean that any glassy build with a lot of damage percent will benefit less than a it will benefit less from infusions than what a comparatively tankier build with less magic damage percent would do. This also includes situationals though, so technique, because that's a thing that shows up on gear, right? Technique, first strike, regicide, abyssal, that kind of thing. It all goes into the second bucket called gear damage. The third bucket is called class damage. It is anything you get from your class. Anything you get from your class plus vulnerability plus consumables. Consumables meaning fruit of life, and I think any kind of consumable damage pot, like a Dreadful Damascene. My understanding is that they add with each other, so you can drink both a strength pot and a fruit of life, and you'll be fine. Okay, let's see if you can melee me. I will admit, there was like no intelligent Omen weaving there. I just cast all my spells. I think if someone who had like better ping and didn't have to cut the FPS to 30 to record was playing Chimera's Grace, they'd probably be a lot better off, because you can parry. I probably should also unbind Mana Lance from right click, because I keep like stunning the mob right as it walks up to hit me. And then I don't get the retaliation damage buff, so I'm kind of sabotaging myself. To finally conclude the point on additive rework, Mage doesn't apply vulnerability for the most part. It only does so via 3 routes to my knowledge. Spellshock U applies fire vulnerability, Magma Shield U applies fire vulnerability, and something else which I no longer remember applies vulnerability as well. Oh yes, Astral Omen too. But I don't have any of that currently. I don't have, like, any of that, so the number in my class damage bucket, it is 1. A paladin in R3 will usually go up to about 70% passively, and if they set up on an enemy, that can go up to 130%. To my knowledge, if they have like Illuminate and Boon and Choir Bells, and they have Divine Justice U, and they have Crusade U, it all adds together, which is why it's so ass. It used to multiply, now it doesn't. But what this means is that effectively that 50% which you thought which you hoped you would see on Cleric from retaliation, that's only 25%, and against normal mobs it's like 12.5%, which is kinda ass. Kinda tragic. Which is why it's getting changed next week, if Zernial is not fraudulent. Ah yes, a functional block system. I do wish I was able to record a better video, but I do kind of get FPS drops. So there's not a lot I can do about that. In terms of the rest of the year, it is a very unhappy choice for whether you should choose whether you the better choice is armor or agility, because they both suck. You know why? Because you look at where all the damage comes from on agility. It's in the offhand and it's in the boots, neither of which you can use. Like Enclosure and Wolf's Blood, both very powerful damage tools. Can't use them because your slots are taken by Eclipse Stream and please. Your slots are taken by Eclipse Stream and Chimera's Grace, because Eclipse Stream has adaptability. Now, the thing is that Duskroot is actually better. Duskroot Enclosure is not better, but really competitive, which is weird because you're wasting 20% attack speed from Duskroot. So, I mean, hopefully something happens to that balancing, because Eclipse Stream is not it, man. Like, yeah, I guess Inferno, but Inferno sucks. I don't want to have to use Inferno on my stupid build. I don't care about Inferno. I did, in fact, just perform a kill before I got the actual retaliation off. Oopsies. I mean, theoretically the build's gonna become less cursed next week, because it'll be AoE. It will actually apply to all the mobs that I'm hitting and not just the first one in the tick. But who knows? Maybe I was lied to. I feel like the Colossus of Entropy shouldn't get to be bloodthirsty. That doesn't seem very fair. What the heck? The other choice is of course to use armor, right? Because armor has the strength in the actual armor pieces. The thing is that armor doesn't have technique. Like, you can see that I'm much more able to exploit technique on the build, because I need to wait for the mob to melee me anyways. But exploitation of technique is not possible on armor because there just isn't any. You don't get to use this ridiculous Stargazers. You don't get to use the funny Stargazer's Resilient Growth combo to catch your EHP and your damage. So you're just kind of cooked. Come on. Should have parried the fall damage, my bad. Whoa. I still have no idea what these symbols on retaliation mean. I guess I could look it up, but I don't think it's in the public API yet. The Airborne Corruptor is so funny. I don't think I can, like, kill it, though. Like, I don't think it gets in range of my... Oh, I killed it, never mind. And that was unhelpful as an action, actually, because now there's a Dread! Hey, Prismatic U reset. Immediately wasted the Prismatic U reset by falling to my death like an idiot, but I'm not dead, so... I mean, low-key Arcanist has spoiled me. It's surprisingly difficult to go back to having to actually aim at stuff. Arcanist is so nice, I can just kind of cast a spell in its general direction, it dies. Of course in the wish list for the build, I'd like to have things like healing and regeneration and sustenance. And those would be nice, but like, I mean, it's a cramped enough build as it is. The only thing I could possibly swap out is a Radiant Secrecy, and I'm already questionable on the EHP front. So I'm not sure if I can afford the swap to something like Circuit Breaker. Come on, melee me. I gave up on the meleeing because it's like down there. I'm not gonna bother. Surely it doesn't like summon things behind me and screw me, right? Right. I think that one applies Wither. I'm not certain though. Oh, I killed one of them. I didn't even notice. Okay, maybe don't hit me with that Transcendent Missile. Maybe do hit me with that Transcendent Missile then. I am not doing the greatest Moonblade cycling, admittedly. I used to, like, on non-Kim Grace, I'm pretty good at it, in my opinion, but something about having a shield just kind of turns my brain off in terms of spell cycling. So everything just kind of vomits out as fast as I can get it to go out. I hope I haven't forgotten some, like, important aspect of the build, because it is time for boss. I think he has a melee attack, right? Okay, maybe I need to actually be good at the cycle, because that was a lackluster amount of damage. I suppose it's possible to build an armor build. You just have to lean into the steadfast. And it broke my shield, I didn't even notice. We're gonna spend some time to run away now. Is it good? I mean, not that good, I think, but it is kind of funny to watch the health go down like that. I am not within technique range though, so I'm throwing a bit, like literally half my damage, maybe less after infusions, but it is half my damage before infusion. It's more than half my damage before infusions, that comes from technique. Ah, you should be dead soon. Moonblade. Admittedly, this is my second attempt at recording this video. The first one I did in a different POI didn't go so well because stuff refused to melee me. So I couldn't get the retaliation to pop. This is probably not something you want to use on your own, but if it widens your horizons of what's possible as a build, then I think that's pretty cool.